And of course, we're just proud that we can call you our own, and we wanted to kind of give you this as memento for talking to our football team.
That's awesome.
We owe you a lot more, I will say that. We owe you so much more. We also have the Kermit Westerholm sticker on the back. We have dedicated our season to him and the season. And of course, you know, Verne, you have been a big part of athletic programs here at TLU, and we just thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dan. My wife Nancy and I were here for commencement back in May, and Dr. Dorsey was kind enough to take us by what was the beginning of the construction of the on-campus stadium, and he said, and Danny asked me as well, Coach Padron, is there any chance you could be here for the game opening, the opening game against Sul Ross? And I thought, boy, that would be terrific. And as luck would have it, our crew, Gary Danielson and myself, and our production crew, we were in Baltimore last week to do Ohio State Navy. We're off this week, and next week we've got Georgia, Clemson, and South Carolina. So the timing just could not have been any better. And I was really anxious to get down here and then to have a chance to just spend a few minutes talking to you. I want to try and give you guys some sense of how significant and important this weekend is to a lot of us old goats. I enrolled here as a freshman in September of 1958, graduated in class of 62, and the first football game I ever saw the Bulldogs play was on October 18th in 1958. I had to look this up. I didn't remember quite all of it. I wish I had. They opened on the road, and they played Louisiana College on your schedule this year down at Matador Stadium. They lost 26-7. But the only touchdown scored in that game was a 21-yard pass from Charlie McMahon to Buzzy Denyer. They lost 26-7. This weekend is so important to those guys on that team that Charlie and Buzzy and their wives and probably 5 or 6 other players from the 58 through 62 teams will be in the stands tomorrow night. There's a sense of continuity here that I hope you guys honor and understand. And I hope, if perchance, sometime tomorrow, if you see either Charlie McMahon or Buzzy Denyer, remember that they're kind of the foundation for what you guys are accomplishing now. They're both in their late 70s, and they will be here tomorrow. Of course, the apogee for Texas Lutheran College football came 40 years ago and 39 years ago in 74 and 75. They won back-to-back NAIA Division II championships. The head coach was Jim Wacker, one of the great characters and great leaders and best men I've ever known in all the years that I've been doing sports. Jim later went on and coached at North Dakota State, Southwest Texas State in San Marcos, TCU in Minnesota. We lost him to cancer a few years ago. But he developed a core of young men on those teams in 74 and 75 who went on and became very successful in their personal lives, their family life, but also in their business lives. And that group who excelled, winning those 2 national championships, have given back to this university in many, many, many ways. A lot of them are going to be in the stands to see what has happened here. It's almost mind-boggling for many of us because from '87, at the end of the '87 season, a decision was made to drop the football program at Texas Lutheran. It was a decision that many of us vehemently disagreed with, but kind of understood. It was economic in nature, and you could call it the dark decade. To go from no football program to the reinstallation of the program as Division III in 1998, and then to get to the point under Coach Padron and his staff, what you guys accomplished last year. You just got to take one more step, and I know that's your goal, and I believe with all my heart that you'll do it. But to think, I remember I did a commencement speech a few years back at Hamden, Sydney, which is an all-male college, Division III, about an hour outside of Richmond. It is a beautiful campus. They've got a wonderful athletic department, non-scholarship, and they have an on-campus stadium. And I can remember driving by that when I was there thinking, boy, if only. And here we are, under the leadership of Dr. Dorsey, the success of Danny and his staff, the contributions of you guys. I can't wait. This is going to be a really significant moment tomorrow for a lot of us who've waited a long, long, long time. A quick story. About 15 years ago, I was involved in a movie. Yeah, that one. And it's been a blessing beyond my ability to express. Happy Gilmore fell into my life, and because you guys watch it all the time, it's given me a connection with college students across 2 generations. I'm in my early 70s, almost my mid-70s. But this movie achieved such almost like cult status. And I just want to share with you a story about, there's a punchline in the movie where they introduce Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler on the first tee. And I whisper to the guy sitting to my left and say, who the hell is Happy Gilmore? And so in 2005, I'm doing a basketball game, non-conference, between North Carolina and Arizona, and the game is in Tucson. And Roy Williams doesn't like anybody down close to his players during practice, because then he feels that he can't really talk to them like he'd like. You're not like that.
Not like that.
No. And so Billy Packer and I, my partner, we were watching the practice. This was February of 2005. North Carolina had a really good team. Tyler Hansborough, who's now in the NBA, was their big star, Raymond Felton. So the practice is over, we're halfway up, and this tall fella comes loping up the stairs and looks at me and he said, the team would like to talk to you. And I said, you mean Billy Packer? He said, no, 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 they want you to come down and talk to them. So I go down and they're doing their post-practice stretching exercises. And Hansborough at 6'10" is right down here, and he looks up. I said, what can I do for you? He said, give us a line from Happy Gilmore. I follow orders. Who the hell is Happy Gilmore? And they all laughed. So I told them, if you guys win the national championship, I expect a shout out for the motivational speech that got you across the threshold. You know where I'm going with this? If you guys wind up in the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl, and I hope you do, I really expect a shout out when it's over. This is really a thrill for me to be back on campus. I have not seen the Bulldogs play since 1962, just because of what I do. So I'm going to get a little emotional tomorrow. And by the way, do you know that when you win, and last year it was a lot, Tim Clark calls the CBS studio in New York, and we get the score to our guys in the studio show. And they've been known to put the score on the air. Well, next week, not tomorrow because we're off, but we've got the Georgia Bulldogs. It's an easy transition. So you will get a gratuitous but very thankful mention on the air. And I thank you guys for the invite.